Happy Tuesday out there. My name's Frank Rock. This is the House of Orange Sports Channel coming at you. Tennessee Volunteers, of course, their baseball squad has had plenty of good news over the last couple days. And, I talked about it a lot last night, did the live Monday night show. If you've not gotten a chance to check that out, I'll link it here at the end where you can click on and kind of check that out as I went pretty in detail last night. But the Major League Baseball draft started Sunday. Rounds 3 through 10 were yesterday, and then it will conclude today with rounds 11 through 20 starting at 2 o'clock Eastern time today. Question is, how has Tennessee been affected so far? I think if you're Tennessee, you have to be extremely, extremely happy with the results so far. So let's dive into it here. So Christian Moore, of course, starts it off, goes 8th to the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim Angels, California Angels, whatever you want to call them, LAA. To me, great situation. It's a program or a team, an organization, I guess you could say. They've not been good, and their farm system ranks right at the bottom, if not at near or at the bottom of the majors. So right now, there's not a lot of good going on out there. Now, they hired Ron Washington, who's the man. Ron Washington is the man. I think Christian Moore, as long as he does his thing, which I expect he will here in the minors, I think there is a fast track for him. I'm not saying by the end of the year. I'm not even saying next year, but within a couple years to get to the majors. And with Ron Washington, with Eric Young there, they've already said Moore is going to play second base in the system. This is a big Ron Washington, whether you're a Braves fan or not, you've probably seen the videos of what they were able to do and just how much he works with those infielders. And I think it'll be big for them. Blake Burke goes 34th to the Milwaukee Brewers. Billy Amick, 60th overall to the Minnesota Twins. Dylan Dreiling, 65th, I believe it was, to the Texas Rangers. So that was your day one picks. Tennessee had the most day one picks of any team in college baseball. Now, on to day two, Drew Beam, third round. Kavaris Tears, Drew Beam goes third round to the Kansas City Royals. Kavaris Tears goes fourth round to the San Diego Padres. Here's where I'll come back to these two. I'm going to look at current team right now. A.J. Causey, fifth round to the Kansas City Royals as well. So I think there is a possibility he and Beam, they may start in Columbia, which would be pretty cool for them. And then eighth round, Aaron Combs goes to the Chicago White Sox. And there was a guy, Joe Healy. I think it was Healy or Nate. I can't remember off the top. I'm pretty sure it's Joe Healy, D1 Baseball. He put out a tweet yesterday just to remind people when you're questioning whether they're seventh or eighth rounder, why wouldn't they come back? Major League Baseball teams do not draft guys in the first 10 rounds with the intention that they'll go back to college. It occasionally, or I wouldn't even say occasionally, it rarely does happen. But they draft guys within the top 10 rounds with the knowledge in hand what it's going to take to get them signed beforehand. So those 8 guys will begin, once they sign their contracts, their major league careers. They will not be back in Knoxville. Now, Tennessee's number 1 ranked signing class. Now, I've previewed it on here a week or so ago, talked about their draft class. I'll link that at the end if you've not got to hear about that. I've talked about it on the last 2 live streams. I went more in depth 2 Mondays ago on it, on the stream on July 8th. I went more in depth on that. I'll link that at the end as well. Talking about this draft class, who were the risks to be taken? If you're Tennessee, you have to be extremely happy with how this has played out as far as everything, really, I think, right now, because these 8 guys who were selected from the current roster, you knew this was coming. I've talked about it on here. Causey and Combs actually went higher than I expected. Not that no disrespect. I've just seen how the draft works at times. But Causey going 5th round surprised me. But, hey, that's awesome for him. Very happy for him. Happy for Combs. So both those guys top 10. all 8 of these guys will sign and they'll be gone. Their slot values, you can find them on MLB.com. If you pull up the draft results, you look by each guy, it'll say slot value. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get that value. Teams may have to overpay in some instances, or for other ones, they may underpay. Depends on what kind of eligibility the guy has left. 4th round, though, Tennessee, 4th and 5th rounds, they were affected with their high school. Tyson, shortstop out of Nevada, number 1 ranked player in Nevada, top 40 overall. He was selected by the Chicago Cubs. And then Trey Snyder, top 70, shortstop out of Missouri, was all selected 5th round by the New York Mets. Those 2 guys will begin their pro careers. Those teams did not draft them that early for them to go back to, or for them to report to college. So essentially, Tennessee's had 10 guys picked right now. Now, on the other front, though, one guy who I'd read about was a very significant draft risk was Keegan Coons, pitcher out of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. He was not selected in the first 10 rounds. He announced last night he is coming to Knoxville. He will be there. And from everything I've read, everything I've heard, I don't know, where he fits, but he'll have a role next year. He is that good. He pitched for Team USA some. His scouting report, they're very high on him on perfectgame.com on the scouting report. So he is officially coming to campus. Aiden Hayes, another prospect, he announced last night. He put a picture up, said home, and it was a picture inside of Lindsey Nelson Stadium. He'll be on campus. And I really think Tennessee withstands. Now, do they have any other guys get drafted today? Day 3 is going to be determining. There's still some risk today. Current team, I don't think there's any more risk with the current actual team. Now, I'm not including guys who are transferring in or who have signed coming in. I'm including current roster because Hunter Inslee did announce he's coming back. So he's there. The rest of the guys, they have their eligibility left. They are there. But as far as portal guys, one dude to watch out for is Eric Radicich, first baseman, outfielder from Niagara. I still think, based on the interview I read with him, he seems like a very detailed and smart guy who's done his due diligence, done his research on this process. He's currently 23 years old because this will be his 4th school. He started off at San Diego. He went to JUCO. Then he went to Niagara. Now, if he comes to Tennessee, I think he'll be fine coming to Tennessee. But at the same time, he said, I'm 23 years old. Teams have expressed this, me being an older guy. So, with him, if he gets drafted now, I feel he's gone. I feel he has to, and I think he realized he has to take this opportunity while it's there, because next year, if he does come to campus, and again, he's fired up about it, but he's realistic about it, which I respect it. And he'd be 24 years old next year going into that draft. Not to say he couldn't get drafted or he couldn't improve his stock by any means, but still yet, we saw it with Dalton Connect in the NBA draft. Teams are looking at these younger guys. More, they see a guy a few more years, that's just how it's viewed. I mean, it's just how it is, and especially baseball and basketball. But I think if Radichich's drafted, he is gone. And I know somebody last night kept reiterating to me, he's not listed in the top 500 prospects. Or you would be surprised if you go back yesterday, look at the 10 rounds, how many guys were not on initial prospect rank. Aaron Combs was not on all top 500 lists for the draft either, and he was drafted yesterday. So just because they're not on the draft rankings does not mean they won't get drafted. 20 rounds, 30 teams, that's 600 picks, plus your compensation rounds. There's over 600 picks made in this draft. There's guys not in the top 500 going to be drafted. That's just the way it is. And a guy like Radicich, if he's drafted, he's gone. I really feel he is. And from what I'm reading as well, so looking at your JUCO guys coming in. Now, does any other coming freshman get affected by this? I don't know. I can't answer that because my thought is their asking prices were high enough that teams did not touch them in the 10th round or first 10 rounds, so they're probably not going to touch them in the last rounds 11 through 20 either. That's not a certainty, though. There could be a guy that has some dialogue with the team, can still be signed over slot and may not make it to campus. So what happens with an Anson Siebert? He's, according to perfectgame.com, Tennessee's top ranked guy coming in. And I've not seen where he's announced for sure that he'll come to campus. So is he one worth watching today? I think it could be interesting to see. My initial thought is, as high ranked as he is, that he'll come to campus. But you never say never when guys haven't announced, hey, I'm definitely coming. But I think for the most part, Tennessee's going to be good with their high school guys, other than for sure Ty Southseen and Trey Snyder. Now, look at the JUCO guys. Who could possibly go for JUCO? For one, I've seen Tanner Wiggins. He's a closer. He was a freshman this year. He's possibly, now I'm stealing from, I'm going to quote a guy on Twitter, Sam. He seems to be a Vol guy. I think he does some contributions for, let's see, who is it? College Baseball Central. He does some stuff for them. Seems to be more of a, a Tennessee guy, so to speak. Because I don't know if he covers Tennessee for them or what, but very knowledgeable guy, very detailed guy. I like reading his stuff on here. But the JUCO guys that we're looking at, Brandon Arvidsson started at Texas A&M, just committed this past weekend. At this point, I think he's coming to Knoxville. I think if he would have went in the first couple rounds, he would have been gone. But at this point, he's got 108 strikeouts, 61 innings this past year. He's a left-hander. He'll be in Knoxville. Austin Breedlove says he's a local guy, pitched for Cleveland State. 123 strikeouts and 82 innings. Had the third most in junior college this year. So I don't know where he is in the process, his age and stuff, if he could be drafted. Just Michael Sharman's another JUCO guy from Georgia Highlands. Says he's similar to Xander Sechrist. 101 strikeouts, 93 and 2/3 innings. So definitely appears he was a starter. I mentioned Tanner Wiggins. He was a closer, according to Sam here of College Baseball Central, says he's arguably the top closer in junior college, up to 98 in the summer, 1.40 ERA, 25 and 2/3 innings, 26 strikeouts, 8 saves. And then Thomas Crabtree, who just signed recently from Pearl River Community College in Mississippi. He's from Colliersville. Low 90s fastball, pretty good curveball, 2.96, 105 strikeouts and 76 innings. And then you got Aaron Combs' brother, Ryan Combs, where this year 30 strikeouts, 27 and a third inning, 5.60 ERA, 6'3", 155. I wonder if he's not a little bit more of a project that he'll need to get in the locker or the weight room. Seems like a very lanky guy to me. So, nothing this strength and conditioning program for Tennessee cannot get going, get him beefed up a little bit as well. But JUCO guys, they're a different breed in college baseball. They're brought in, especially to a program like Tennessee, they're brought in to make a difference. And I totally expect that they will. How many of them may possibly get drafted is going to be the question today. So I think your draft risks today are Radchick from Niagara, Tanner Wiggins, from what I've seen. If he's drafted, I think there's a chance he goes, and could any of these other JUCOs possibly go as well. And you always keep your eye on the high school ranks. Again, somebody may come in with an overslot bonus. It's too much for them to turn down. But I feel pretty good at this time that majority of Tennessee's class makes the campus, and that's a big deal. There's already plenty of talent going to be on this campus. There's going to be another influx of it coming from this signing class as well. This program's not going anywhere. It's just reloading. And, multiple people have taken their look at pitching for next year. And I talked about the lineups last night in detail. Tennessee's pitching staff is going to be loaded next year, and it withstands to be even better. The offensive lineup, I don't think it's reasonable to expect it to be better, but I expect it to be very good again. It's always tough to get back to Omaha. It's even tougher to repeat. Tennessee will have a shot at both next year, though, for sure. I'll have video later this evening after the draft's completed. We'll know more on how Tennessee's fully going to be affected by it. And then later in the week, I'll look at some of my projected lineups for next year and how I see things playing out based on what I've seen. But I'm going to sit down here in just a few minutes as well, try to find some Lady Vols content. It's time to start amping that up a little bit as well. Football content as well. We'll start amping that up with some previews. Of course, Josh Heupel takes the stage here in less than 2 hours at the SEC Media Days. I'll have a recap of that later on today as well with Josh Heupel and the players who are down there. But I hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday. If you like the content, hit that thumbs up. Biggest thing for me, any Vol fans out there who may be interested, who've not discovered the channel, share it out for them as well. And then make sure you hit that subscribe button. And of course, down that right corner, you can hit that. If you like the content, you can hit that super thanks as well. But my name's Frank Rock, the House of Orange Sports Channel. I'll see you when I see you. And last but most certainly not least, go Vols.